Imagine waking up one morning and hearing the man they swore was dead is now behind bars? That's right. Tupac Shakur, the king of controversy, the voice of a generation, allegedly faking his own death, and now apparently locked up for it. You heard me correctly. For decades, millions of fans have whispered in corners, clicked through endless forums, and watched grainy videos, all convinced that Pac didn't die on that Vegas street corner. But what if all those theories, all those sightings in Cuba, Malaysia, even random backstreets of LA, weren't just fantasy? What if the man who gave us Hail Mary, Life Goes On, and enough lyrics to make the FBI sweat actually pulled off the ultimate stunt, faking his death and disappearing into plain sight? Now, the unthinkable is happening. Court documents, leaked sources, and street whispers claim Tupac is finally facing the consequences for the world's longest-running conspiracy. But how? Why? And who is really behind bringing the legend to justice or exposing the myth once and for all? Strap in, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about Tupac. The streets and the wild world of hip-hop conspiracies. The world thought Tupac Shakur was gone, 6 feet under, a memory frozen in time. But what if everything we believed was a lie? For decades, his name has been whispered in alleyways, typed in forum threads, shouted over conspiracy YouTube videos. Tupac, the man who rapped about street codes, corruption, and survival, allegedly didn't die on that Las Vegas street corner in 1996. Now, fast forward nearly 3 decades, and the impossible is trending in court documents, anonymous leaks, and street chatter. Tupac is allegedly in custody, facing charges for faking his own death. That's right, the man who supposedly caught 4 bullets, whose life supposedly ended in a hospital bed, is now supposedly on the other side of the bars. STARING down a reality even more shocking than any plot in his songs. The fans, the theorists, the journalists, they all thought the truth was buried in the desert heat of Nevada, but apparently the plot just got flipped. How could the legend who gave us Hail Mary, Life Goes On, and enough lyrics to make the FBI sweat actually pull off a stunt that would leave the entire world questioning what is real and what is myth? And the answer, according to sources who claim to have seen the court filings and the supposed booking records, is audacious. Pac didn't just disappear. He allegedly staged the ultimate exit, leveraging the chaos of 1996 Vegas, the shadows of death row records, and decades of public fascination to pull a vanishing act, worthy of any Hollywood thriller. Every theorist who ever dissected the Machiavelli album cover, counted the sevens in his last posthumous releases, or traced the cryptic lyrics in the Don Illuminati, the 7-day theory would nod at this revelation. They've been right all along, or so they say. Some claim that even now, Tupac's eyes stare through the courtroom glass, calculating, calm, unbothered, the ultimate survivor finally forced to answer for decades of deception. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's rewind. It wasn't just imagination that fueled these conspiracies. It was the man himself. Tupac wasn't just a rapper. He was a walking enigma, a poet with a flair for drama and rebellion. His entire career was a masterclass in misdirection. From feuds with rival artists to public spats with the media, from run-ins with law enforcement to the seemingly endless speculation surrounding his friends, family, and record label, every lyric he wrote, every album cover he posed on, every interview he gave there was an energy of unpredictability, a sense that Tupac Shakur was always one step ahead, always controlling the narrative of his own life. And when he got shot on that night in Vegas, many fans refused to believe it was over. The hospital stay, the coma, the reports of respiratory failure, none of it seemed to satisfy the need for closure. Instead, it fueled the fire. Could he have planned it all along? Could the sevens, the crucifix imagery, the sudden posthumous deluge of unreleased tracks have been breadcrumbs for those patient and sharp enough to follow? Maybe, some said. Maybe the world was meant to believe in his death while the real Tupac slipped quietly away, leaving only music, legends, and a maze of cryptic hints behind. But as the years rolled on, the theories became more detailed, more elaborate, more feverish. Sightings in Cuba, whispers from street corners in LA, blurry photographs in Malaysia, they were everywhere, impossible to verify, yet impossible to ignore. The idea of Tupac as an immortal enigma wasn't just comforting. It became a cultural necessity. If the world could believe Tupac was alive somewhere, then maybe the injustices he rapped about, the corruption, the street wars, the inequities weren't final, weren't absolute, weren't untouchable, and now the line between myth and reality is being challenged again. Court documents allegedly reveal a booking, fingerprints, a charge sheet details that seem ripped straight from a Hollywood script. According to sources claiming to be close to the legal team, the arrest stems from decades of speculation, anonymous tips, and even statements from insiders who, for years, kept quiet under the weight of fear and street code. One unnamed source allegedly told investigators, "If he could vanish before, he can't vanish forever. Sooner or later, someone slips, someone talks, and the legend becomes accountable." The irony is almost too perfect. Tupac, the man who once rapped, "I'm not saying I'm gonna change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world," now finds himself facing the machinery of law that he spent years dodging in metaphor, music, and mystery. But this isn't just legal drama. It's a cultural earthquake. Social media is erupting, theorists are scrambling, and forums are lit with speculation, disbelief, and outrage. How could Tupac Shakur, the immortal, the phantom of hip-hop mythology, be in custody? Is this proof that the legends we worship aren't untouchable? Or is it a stunt, another layer of misdirection worthy of the man who was always a master of narrative? While fans argue, police filings allegedly point to a trail of clues left behind intentionally or by accident. It seems, for decades, Tupac's absence created more noise than his presence ever could. The fake death narrative was more than entertainment. It was survival, myth-making, and an unspoken challenge to the world. Follow me if you dare. But now, the dare might have caught up, and just like that, a legend allegedly shackled and booked might finally face the consequences of the stunt, real or imagined, that captivated the world for over 25 years. The questions now aren't just about whether he faked his death. They're about why it took so long for the legal system, for witnesses, and for insiders to connect the dots. Was it fear, loyalty, street code, or something more sinister? Was Tupac ever really gone, or was the world complicit in the illusion, caught up in the spectacle he orchestrated? Fans are divided. The conspiracy theorists are ecstatic, claiming vindication of their long-held beliefs. The skeptics scoff, calling it the latest viral stunt. And the rest of the world? They're just trying to figure out if the man who gave voice to a generation, who turned tragedy into art, could really pull off the ultimate deception, escaping death itself, only to be caught decades later. This is the heart of the scandal, and it's only the beginning. The story of Tupac Shakur, the alleged faked death, and now the supposed jail time is a labyrinth of intrigue, mystery, and cultural obsession. But what comes next might be even more explosive. Because if these allegations are true, the streets, the media, and the entire music industry are about to witness the fallout of a conspiracy that was decades in the making. The courtroom is buzzing. The cameras are rolling, and the streets can't stop talking. Sources claim Tupac's alleged booking has thrown the music world into chaos. But the real story isn't just about him, it's about every player who ever orbited the life, death, or myth of Tupac Shakur. People are pointing fingers at death row, at old rivals, at unnamed insiders, all whispering about how a man like Pac could pull off a stunt of this magnitude. One anonymous source, who claims to have been a former road manager for Tupac, allegedly told our investigators this wasn't some half-baked plan. This was chess, not checkers. Pac thought 20 moves ahead, and half the industry never even saw the board. The courtroom filings, allegedly leaked to select journalists, hint at a complicated web of misdirection, hidden addresses, and proxy contacts designed to keep Tupac off the grid for decades. Every lead the cops pursued allegedly hit a dead end until, finally, a loose tongue from a supposed confidant allegedly cracked the code. Suddenly, the man who was a ghost in the public eye has a tangible presence, and everyone wants to know the full story. Public reaction has been wild. to say the least. Social media platforms are exploding with memes, heated debates, and video clips of fans reenacting Tupac sightings from the past 25 years. There's a mixture of awe, disbelief, and pure obsession. One viral tweet allegedly summed it up best. So y'all telling me Tupac faked his death and got arrested now? Somebody call Spielberg, this plot is cinematic. Meanwhile, hip-hop historians are scrambling, some calling it the greatest trick in music history, others warning that the legal documents haven't been verified and this could be a publicity stunt. On the streets, the chatter is just as intense. In Compton, Long Beach, and Harlem, old heads allegedly gather in barbershops and stoops, shaking their heads at the audacity. Pac always been 2 steps ahead, one street veteran reportedly said. Y'all think this is news? This is history finally catching up with the man. The alleged investigative findings make the situation even juicier. Sources claim Tupac allegedly set up multiple safe houses over the years, each stocked with essentials and coded messages for insiders. Some of these safe houses allegedly contain memorabilia, hidden notebooks, and encrypted devices that supposedly outlined escape routes, dummy addresses, and instructions for staying off the radar. One alleged document, supposedly written in Pac's own hand, reportedly included a timeline for temporary absence that lined up suspiciously with public appearances, posthumous album releases, and even certain interviews. Observers say the level of planning is insane, almost unimaginable for a single man, which is exactly what makes this story feel so real. If this is true, Tupac didn't just fake his death, he gamed the system, the media, and the public. An alleged insider reportedly told investigators, and the money trail adds another layer of drama. Allegedly, funds from posthumous album sales, royalties, and residual contracts were redirected to accounts tied to shell corporations, all supposedly part of a long-term plan to support Pac while off the grid. The theorists are losing their minds. Was Tupac secretly living off the very industry he dominated while everyone thought he was dead? Were those platinum posthumous records actually helping fund his secret life? Some anonymous sources allege extravagant spending patterns, luxury cars in remote locations, private flights under assumed names, and rare art purchases that supposedly point to the lifestyle of a man who vanished in plain sight. And while skeptics scoff at these claims, the documentation allegedly leaked from financial investigators paints a picture that is, at minimum, eyebrow-raising. Public reactions aren't just about shock, they're about vindication, frustration, and obsession. Some conspiracy theorists claim, finally, proof that Tupac was alive and pulling the ultimate stunt. Others are furious, questioning why law enforcement allegedly didn't intervene sooner. Why let a man allegedly evade the system for decades? Was the FBI in on it? Did death row cover him? One alleged commenter posted in a now viral forum thread. The comments are endless, the debates heated, and the memes relentless. Even mainstream media outlets are allegedly tiptoeing around the story, cautious to report without verifying documents, yet unable to ignore the social media frenzy. And then there's the alleged role of insiders, who may have helped orchestrate the disappearance or at least tipped it under wraps. Former associates, producers, and bodyguards reportedly kept their mouths shut, LLEGDLY, bound by loyalty, fear, or street code. Some alleged sources suggest these individuals even acted as decoys in public appearances, standing in for Tupac to maintain the illusion of his death. The attention to detail allegedly involved fake funeral arrangements, cremation rumors, and manipulated hospital records. To conspiracy theorists, every timing mismatch, every cryptic lyric, and every posthumous release was suddenly another piece of evidence, another breadcrumb in the elaborate plan. While the details are still allegedly emerging, the courtroom drama now allegedly promises to expose the inner workings of a decades-long narrative. Lawyers are scrambling, judges are allegedly reviewing sealed documents, and the media is in a frenzy. The story combines every element of sensationalism: a legendary figure, decades of mystery, a criminal justice system forced to confront the impossible, and a public that refuses to accept anything less than the absolute truth. Alleged witnesses are reportedly being interviewed, records allegedly checked, and investigators allegedly piecing together a trail that spans decades, cities, and continents. The tension is palpable. Because if even half of these allegations are true, the implications are massive. Tupac's alleged stunt challenges not only the music industry, but also how the public consumes truth, myth, and celebrity. It forces us to reconsider what we know about loyalty, deception, and the lengths one man can allegedly go to control his narrative. Street justice, legal accountability, and fan mythology collide in a way that no one saw coming. And the fallout is only just beginning. Now comes the fallout, the part where the alleged stunt collides with reality. And suddenly, decades of speculation are forced to answer to cold, hard consequences. Courtrooms are reportedly packed, the public is buzzing, and social media is in a frenzy like never before. If Tupac truly pulled off a disappearance for decades, the repercussions aren't just about him, they ripple through death row, the music industry, and every so-called insider who ever kept a secret or closed an eye. Allegedly, the arrest alone has prompted investigators to reopen cases once considered cold, bringing scrutiny on executives, producers, and bodyguards who may have knowingly or unknowingly enabled the ultimate vanishing act. According to insiders allegedly familiar with the filings, subpoenas are flying, financial records are being traced, and email chains from 20 years ago are suddenly relevant in ways no one could have predicted. The alleged fallout is massive, and the tension is cinematic. Fans are reacting like this is the season finale of a series they've been binge-watching for decades. Public commentary is wild, some cheering for justice, some furious that the legend might finally face judgment. One alleged tweet claimed, "Packing cuffs is the plot twist we didn't know we needed." While another commenter fired back, "You mean the man who faked his death is getting sued for faking his death?" Only in hip-hop. Talk shows, podcasts, and YouTube channels are reportedly scrambling to analyze every alleged court document, creating minute-by-minute breakdowns of every filing, every mugshot, and every hypothetical motive. Even pop culture outlets that once treated Tupac as untouchable are allegedly scrambling to cover the story without appearing disrespectful to the legend. Alleged insider sources say the legal implications are enormous. If Tupac allegedly faked his death, the ramifications for contracts, royalties, and posthumous releases could be seismic. Record labels might be forced to repay advances, album sales could be scrutinized, and licensing deals renegotiated. One alleged source close to the industry reportedly said, "This could rewrite the entire business model for posthumous releases." If he wasn't dead, then some people have been cashing in on a lie for decades. Fans are already theorizing how much money may have been funneled to shell accounts, how insiders might have enriched themselves, and how some of the most iconic albums of hip-hop history could be legally contested. The court battle isn't just about alleged criminal activity, it's about money, legacy, and a cultural icon's story being rewritten in real time. And then there's the public backlash, which reportedly spans from disbelief to moral outrage. Critics argue that faking death, if true, undermines every tragic narrative, every fan theory, and every cultural lesson extracted from Tupac's music. Social media allegedly exploded with reactions ranging from "How could he do this to us?" to "I feel personally betrayed." Meanwhile, some conspiracy theorists are doubling down, claiming that this arrest itself is part of a deeper, more elaborate scheme. "Of course they caught him now, it's all orchestrated to control the narrative," one alleged commenter wrote. The alleged tension between myth and accountability is at an all-time high, and every new leak, every alleged filing, fuels further speculation. Legal experts, allegedly consulted anonymously, claim that if the allegations hold, Tupac could be facing charges ranging from fraud and financial misrepresentation to obstruction of justice, depending on how courts interpret decades of elusiveness. Even the most generous observers acknowledge that the symbolic weight of the arrest is as potent as the alleged legal ramifications. Here's a man who once symbolized rebellion, survival, and raw truth in hip-hop, now allegedly caught in the very system he often critiqued in his music. And if, as some alleged sources suggest, accomplices or co-conspirators helped facilitate the disappearance, the legal net could widen, implicating others who have so far remained in the shadows. Meanwhile, the alleged fallout in the music world is just as intense. Industry insiders reportedly fear lawsuits, lost contracts, and the potential exposure of decades-long deals. Producers who were involved in posthumous releases may now find themselves under scrutiny, and label executives allegedly scrambling to reconcile royalty payments with alleged reality. Even the media faces questions. Were decades of reporting manipulated, selectively framed, or simply too credulous? Allegedly, this story challenges the very way celebrity, legacy, and narrative are controlled in modern culture. It's not just a legal spectacle, it's a cultural reckoning. As the alleged trial looms, questions hang in the air like smoke. Was Tupac truly behind every move for decades, orchestrating an escape while feeding the world his music? Did he ever imagine that one day the system would finally catch up? And the very myth he created would collide with legal reality? Or is this all part of an even deeper game, another layer of the legend that keeps fans debating, theorizing, and obsessing over the line between truth and fiction? The alleged consequences are already rippling across social media, street culture, and music industry circles, forcing everyone to reconsider what they knew or thought they knew about Tupac Shakur. In the end, what this story really reveals, allegedly, isn't just about a man or a legend. It's about human obsession with myth, our collective refusal to let go of icons, and the extreme lengths one individual can allegedly go to control perception, narrative, and destiny. Tupac's alleged faked death, arrest, and the resulting fallout show a collision between culture, law, and obsession, creating a spectacle so wild it almost seems impossible to believe. But as the courtroom drama unfolds, the questions remain. Will justice be served? Will the public finally see the truth? Or will Tupac's legend remain, as always, untouchable, enigmatic, and larger than life? So what do you think? Was Tupac really behind all of this, pulling off the ultimate stunt for decades while the world mourned? Or is this just another twist in a story that refuses to die? The courtroom drama is just getting started, and every new detail makes us question everything we thought we knew about Pac, Death Row, and the music industry. One thing's clear, this isn't just about a rapper. This is about legend, legacy, and the power of narrative itself. It's about how myth can become reality and how obsession can turn facts into folklore. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Tupac faked his death, or is this arrest proof that legends can't escape consequences forever? Could the man who once shook the world from Compton to Cuba actually be behind decades of deception? Or are we just feeding our own obsession with mystery? Drop your thoughts in the comments, don't hold back. Smash that like button if this blew your mind, share it with your friends who've been debating this for years, and subscribe for more videos that dig deep, spill tea, and expose the stories they don't want you to hear. Because with cases like this, the truth is stranger than fiction, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.